Alright, welcome back everybody to Higurashi no Naku Koro ni. We might very well be on the final chapter. We are heading into the Battle of June 19th, 1983. Let's commence with the mission. This might be very long. As you guys are aware, I tend to try to keep the chapters in one episode, so if this does go into like 3-4 hours, I will split it into 2 episodes, just letting you know right now. Okay, let's continue. It was past midnight and almost dawn. The very quiet time of the night where staying up late and getting up early melded together. That exact thing was happening in the offices of the Okanogi gardeners. There were only 2 people on guard duty, and they were playing cards. They weren't sentries, so they didn't really need to be on guard all the time. However, they weren't allowed to fall asleep either. After the TV broadcast went off the air a little past midnight, they usually ended up playing cards. Suddenly, the phone rang. The phone was right nearby, so one of them answered immediately. Thank you for calling. This is Okanogi Gardeners. Yes? What? Suddenly, the man taking the call stood up with a jolt. He even hit his knee on the desk, but he was too panicked to care. Takano dashed into the underground security room in a hurry. I'm sorry to bother you, Major. Forget the coffee. Give me an update. Are you sure about this? Yes. At 4:15 a.m., a body was found in the Okonomiya jurisdiction was identified as R. How could that be? R is homesick with a cold, isn't she? You were observing her, weren't you? Major, there's more. According to an intelligence agent at Okonomiya PD, at least 48 hours have passed since her death. Takano could feel her blood freezing, starting from her feet. She just couldn't believe what was happening. At least 48 hours? At least 48 hours since the death of the Queen Carrier? Takano just couldn't understand. That can't be right. Why are the villagers still so composed? They could have developed terminal symptoms as early as after 36 hours, which was last night. But according to the intelligence agent, this is reliable information. And the station was put under a gag order because they were fearful of the religious impact it could have on the village. What do you mean? Then who do you have observing that house? Major, our observation system is perfect. Rika Furude is there at the house. Ever since we started, she hasn't even stepped out of the house once. Director Irie confirmed it himself. It's just impossible. Then how do you explain this? The police department is saying that the body is Rika and that it's been over 48 hours since her death, right? Are you telling me they're lying? Lie? A lie? That's it. Maybe it's a mistake. I was planning to fake my death using an operative from the Gifu Police Department tonight. This is the same thing. Yeah, it's a lie. It must be a mistake. Takano wasn't confused because she was still half asleep. No, Takano was afraid. Her grandfather wrote in his article that within 48 hours of the Queen Carrier's death, everyone in the village would develop terminal stage symptoms. This would mean that he had been wrong. What about everyone who believed his words? What would they think? Excuse me, Major? There's a phone call from Nomura-san in Tokyo. Ugh! Why is that woman calling me now? While I'm on the phone, check the body the police found immediately. We can't, not right now. When our agents come in, we'll have them approach the station and observe what's going on. And what time is that? 5? 6? It needs to be done as soon as possible. Tell them to hurry up. Good morning. Takano here. All the unit members were gathered in the office of the Okanogi Gardeners, which served as a garrison for the mountain dogs in Okonomiya. Bossy, As soon as you find out something from the police, call both me and the Major. By the way, regarding the observation system at the art residence, why didn't you confirm that she's at home? We assumed she didn't pick up the phone because she was sick with the cold. Director Irie went by and confirmed her presence, so we just took him at his word. Naive. So there is someone at the art residence, that's for sure, right? Yes, there is someone there. Commander, why don't we enter the residence? We still have a little time. We can't do that without approval from the Major. I'm sure she won't let us until she confirms the matter at the Okonomiya PD. In preparation for that order, increase the number of observers at their residence. At least 8 people. Commander, there will be a festival at the shrine later today. We can observe, but I don't think it'll be possible to enter until tomorrow around midnight. Shit, what lousy timing. Wait! This is too much of a coincidence, don't you think? Okanogi's rusty yet wild instincts were sounding an alarm. He sensed that someone was attacking them. He sensed that his enemy had begun to attack. He realized that the enemy had taken the initiative. People usually take a deep breath before they attack. The moment right before they strike is their most vulnerable. Okanogi assumed that whoever his enemy was, they were led by an excellent commander who knew the precise moment to strike. By the way, about Lieutenant Tomotoke. They said he didn't show at the clinic's meeting the other day. Is that right? I'll have someone check on him. The Major asked me if I knew where he went. Do you think it's First Lieutenant Tomotoke? Have Nightingale check Tomotoke's hotel room. Shit, he tricked us. Well, we can't turn back now. Let's see what happens next. Kumagai was trembling with excitement. Kuma-chan, I'm going to check the communication center. Hold down the fort. You bet! Nobody will get through here over my dead body. All I have to do now is handle the phone calls. I'm going back to my post. Kumagai, take care of this place, okay? You can count on me! Kumagai closed the door quietly and stood in front of it. This was his chance to show Oishi what he was made of. Oishi was on his way to the communications center. All radio communications and phone calls passed through there first. During business hours, each section answers its own phone calls, but when they aren't open, the communication center answers them instead. How's it going in here? Well, there was an outside call for forensics calling directly just a few minutes ago. Who called? It was Chief Inspector Otaka. Otaka-kun. Hey. Oishi grinned. The enemy had started to move. They must have bribed someone inside the police department to be their spy. And he started to move just as they planned. Oishi was surprised to learn that it had been Otaka. Oishi had never liked Otaka because he constantly boasted about his academic background and always opposed Oishi, who believes in relying on experience. They didn't get along at all when they worked together at the prefectural police department. The phone call has ended. I'm going to ask the old man. Let's see. Hello? Oh, it's me, don't worry. So how was it? Haha, that green horse sure puts on airs. So I just snubbed him. The idiot sure got mad. He'll come here as soon as the marshal gets in. That's so like him. He can't even fight by himself. This is getting more interesting by the minute. That phone call woke me up completely. Just like you said, there are plenty of suspicions going on out there. I could just feel it. Well, things are getting interesting now. What's up next? Hey, demons, over here. Come further in. Huh? Hello? This is Tomotoke. Good morning, First Lieutenant Tomotoke. Sorry to bother you this early. I'm calling you to let you know the mountain dogs have made a move. Just a little while ago, all the members were called in because of an emergency. We don't know the reason yet. I see. So it's finally started. Did they tell Tomatake? Tomatake turned on the light next to his bed and put on his glasses as he answered. Also, there's been a rumor going around the police department over there. We haven't confirmed it yet, but the Queen Carrier's dead body was found. What? Tell me more! Okay, clearly he doesn't know. Supposedly, an unidentified body turned out to be Rika Furude. They say she's died over 48 hours ago. It's past the time limit in the Emergency Manual 34, but there have been no change in Hinamizawa so far. Have you heard anything? No, I'm in Okinomiya, so I didn't know. But that isn't possible. It must be some kind of mistake. That's what we think too, but according to our analysts, the information is very reliable. It's almost a certainty. We haven't confirmed it yet, but multiple forensic department workers have testified. But... Tomatake realized something. He realized that the Okinomiya police station was Oishi's territory. He also realized that this must be the work of Rika and her friends. Tomatake tried to think calmly. Even if they didn't know who their enemy was, it's obvious the emergency manual is the signal for an explosion. So they must have come up with an idea to destroy that signal. The foundation of the emergency manual is that unless something is done about it, within 48 hours after the Queen Carrier's death, all the villagers will develop terminal stage symptoms. So if nothing happens after 48 hours, there's no need for the manual. And with that, the mountain dogs have been called in. Hello? First Lieutenant Tomatake? Sorry, considering the current situation, it'll be hard to tell if anything suspicious is happening at the Institute. Please ask the Colonel to check immediately. Also, in case of emergency, can you make sure the Bloodhounds are ready to deploy? Roger that. We should have more information by 9 AM. If the mountain dogs revolt, they'll become very dangerous there. Please be very cautious. Of course, I'll be careful. I'll talk to you again at 9 AM. It was 6. Tomatake would get another call in 3 hours. Take a nap until then. Nightingale went to all units. Tomatake is in room 406. Observation team, do you see anything? This is Nightingale 4, nothing from outside. This is Nightingale 5, nothing on this floor. This is Nightingale 3. There's got Sam in the room. He's probably asleep. There was a do not disturb sign on Tomatake's door. Perhaps he stayed up very late last night and was planning to sleep in? This was a great chance for the Nightingale. Be sure to capture him alive. It's an order from the Major. Let's go. They tried to break into Tomatake's room very quietly. Obviously, it was a simple job for them to pick a hotel room's lock. The two members at the door communicated with each other using sign language. Even knowing he was asleep, it would be a good idea not to barge in. They opened the door very cautiously and very quietly. The room's interior was organized but tasteless, typical of cheap hotels. It's a nice picture. Don't call that tasteless. The only furnishings were a bed, a small desk, and a coin-operated TV. Clearly, only one person could stay in this room. And there, in the bed, Tomatake couldn't be found! Dun dun dun. What's wrong, Nightingale 3? Respond. Shit! This room is empty! It was still early in the morning, but the room was empty. What's going on? Tomatake likes to take walks and also take pictures of wild birds. Could he have gone off to do that? No, that's not it. He might have deceived us. The do not disturb sign was on the door. With that sign there, the housekeepers wouldn't come in the room, so they wouldn't know if it was empty or not. The sign had probably been on there since at least the day before. Knowing that Tomatake was planning to stay for a long period, the hotel hadn't really paid much attention. In other words, the room had been empty since then. I'll bet he changed hotels expecting an attack. I see, that's why he hasn't been seen lately. Call the Major immediately. Damn it, our plan has been leaked. Okinogi realized that he'd been beaten to the punch. The foundation of the emergency manual had collapsed, and with that, the basis of the final operation was shaky. Okanogi felt the Major had panicked and rushed into confirming what was going on too hastily. If Tomatake suspected us and went into hiding, then after got caught wind of that, he was sure to come and grab us by our tails. Everything is just too convenient. Shit, this must be exactly what the enemy planned. Okanogi tried to calm himself. If he was going to investigate in secret, he could assume that Tomatake was still nearby. The department in Tokyo must be the one conducting the investigation. So he must be waiting somewhere for a report from that department. Tomatake was probably at a new hotel, probably somewhere in Okonomiya. Get in touch with Crow in Tokyo. There must be someone reporting to him regularly. Find the number they're calling. If the number's somewhere in Shibona City, bingo! Okanogi was confident about his hunch. But if what he was thinking is correct, that meant his identity was about to be exposed. It also meant his operation had failed before it even started. But it wasn't a checkmate quite yet. If he could prove that the dead body at Okonomiya Police Station wasn't R, then everything would go back to square one. All he had to do was capture Tomatake and check the body at the station. That was all. Commander, I got a hold of Crow. They won't be able to tell what exactly they talked about, but they say they can find the phone number. They just need a little time. How much time? Just a few hours, they said. Shit! They just want a few hours, huh? Tell them I don't want to rush them, but they better be quick. It was a little past 6 a.m. It was already light outside, but it's still too early for the cicadas to start their morning chorus. They had endured the first wave. It was now a matter of how quickly they could recover. Okanogi just hoped that the Major didn't throw a fit. Commander! A message from Crow! They're still looking into the phone number. Also, the research division's routine check-in time is at 9 a.m. 3 more hours. He looked up at the clock. Even the little things were beginning to bother Okanogi. Every time the second hand moved, he became more impatient, realizing the check-in time was getting closer and closer. Also, Colonel Oka, head of investigations, issued a standby order to the Bloodhounds. He hasn't said anything about a mission yet, though. Alright, so that means I can still stand down. If nothing happens, he can just play it off as a drill. We're okay, we still have time. More information. The head of investigations called Chief of Staff's home line. We don't have the details. We're okay, we're still okay. It's a close call, but we're okay. The Bloodhound standby orders meant that they saw a very high chance of the 88 Institute revolting. The people on site must be practically certain of it. Although it's not as difficult to execute as the emergency manual, ordering out the Bloodhounds isn't that easy. They only did so because they realized some kind of trouble is afoot. Okanogi was sure that people who wanted to conclude matters peacefully were trying to settle things down by saying it was just a mistake. An order to the Bloodhounds to stand by without clarifying a mission is like a middle ground in that sense. But the head of the research division had called the chief of staff. This was a very dangerous situation for the mountain dogs. In other words, the higher ranks of the SDF, or people even higher than them, had decided the Bloodhounds could take the field. The uniforms are hot-blooded, but the suits are always pushed for peaceful resolutions. They still hadn't decided which way they want to go yet. Our loss wasn't certain yet. Win or tie, everything was riding on the same table. If that was the case, the call coming in at 9 a.m. from the research division didn't bode well. Okanogi couldn't say why, but he had that impression. It was just his wild instinct doing its job. He could guess that the people in Tokyo were going to ask Tomatake about the situation in detail, and then decide what to do based on that. It was possible that the head of the division or even the chief of staff himself might come on the phone. Then the Bloodhounds might get an order as soon as 9 a.m. Phone conversation was over, which would result in his defeat. Tokyo was still unsure. Some were still thinking it was some kind of mistake, or they wanted to think it was some kind of mistake. If Tomatake didn't answer the phone, they might send people immediately, but they wouldn't order out the Bloodhounds. There was a chance it could end in a draw. If they found out that the body didn't actually belong to R, then, although it would corner them, they still had a good chance of winning. but they lose the possibility of a complete victory. Okanogi knew that Takano's clients hadn't ordered anything else but exactly that. He didn't want to admit it, but the enemy's surprise attack had succeeded. Commander! Shut up, calm down! They aren't sure yet. They're suspicious, but they aren't sure yet. We're still okay. Anyway, whoever gets information first wins. Either they found something out or we do. We were beaten in the surprise attack, but we haven't been annihilated. So don't you dare fly a white flag. We'll just wait. Crow will find out what Matoki is. The guys at the police station will expose the truth about Oz death. So all we gotta do now is wait and endure. Excuse me, Major Takano's on the line. She sounds, extremely angry. Shit, I don't have time to babysit a princess now. Yeah, this is Okanogi. My accent for Okanogi's going all over the place. Yeah, well, don't just jump to conclusions. It's like gangster, Australian, British, I don't know. I just go crazy with his accent. It hasn't been decided yet. Why don't you have a cup of coffee first to calm yourself down? I love that accent, though. Okanogi tried to change the subject while pretending to laugh, but all he could hear was Takano's frantic voice. He couldn't even understand what she was trying to say. The second hand on the clock ticked on. Who was going to be able to smile at the end of all of it? Today was going to be a long battle. Okanogi's instincts told him so. I like seeing the mountain dogs be like, you stupid little princess. How you doing? Okay. Who was it? It was our marshal. They're gaining strength. But he's no match for me. Does he really think an office worker can win against a technician? Ha! But I'm glad he's playing golf today. If he actually came over, it would have gotten a little complicated. Huh. Did he call from a golf course? Is it working or what? I bet Otaka-kun wanted to come over with the marshal. He probably real sad about that now. Since an indirect attack hasn't worked, you think they'll try a direct one? Will Otaka come here? If he can't get a hold of the chief, he'll have to. It's almost 8:30. The main doors will open soon. Morning had finally arrived. The chorus of cicadas had begun. That familiar sound would make one think it was just another day. But it was hardly going to be normal. It wasn't just an ordinary Sunday. Oishi and his men already realized they were grazing the tip of a huge conspiracy. Knowing how Otaka-kun is, he'll probably come through the main entrance. Yeah, that's what a guy like him would do. I'll be here to take care of phone calls. You guys take care of him, okay? Alright, I'll go welcome him. Kuma, take care of this place. This beautiful hallway. Poor Kuma. The lobby of the Okonomiya police was just like that of any other police station. It could hardly be said to have a welcoming atmosphere. I'm pretty sure that this is like a city hall or whatever. Some of the tiles on the floor were broken and cracked, so sometimes people tripped on them. Those spots were covered by pieces of cardboard, and there was a sign that said, "Caution, wash your shit up." There was also a pot with a dead plant in it. It was far from a friendly lobby. Unlike hospitals and banks, there wasn't a line of people at the counters of the police station, but there were a few sitting on the sofa waiting for counters to open, and they would open soon. Some workers were standing by on the other side of the counters. Otaka was snobbish enough that Oishi didn't want to deal with him first thing in the morning. If only he was a pretty young woman with the big boobs. Oh, bye. Oishi and his men were on a very important job. If Otaka found out that Rika Furude's death had been faked, their operation was finished. They're only able to shake up the enemy now while Rika Furude's death is still on the books. They had to stall for every minute, every second they could so Tomitake could seize hold of the tail that was popping out. So if the truth about Rika Furure's death was exposed before Tomitake had that chance, the enemy would recover. The emergency manual would regain its credibility, and although the enemy won't enact it immediately, they would try again for sure. Rika Furure had detected the conspiracy ahead of time, but that was a miracle. The divine wins. Japan had prevented Mongol invasions twice in the past with such miracles. Is that true? But nothing like that happened during World War II. They might not be so lucky next time. They might not get another chance. There might be no next time at all. How many times are you going to say the same sentence in using different words? Unless they defeated them this time, they would never win again. While it was possible to do some serious damage, a tied game would inevitably lead to the enemy's victory. They had to completely expose what the enemy was up to, allowing Tomitake to call in suppression unit to defeat them. That was why Oishi had to stop their vanguard here. His job, therefore, was an extremely important one. If the enemy conspiracy succeeded, Hinamizawa would be destroyed, and more than 2,000 villagers would be executed in a gas disaster. Either way, the incident would never go public. But people's lives depended on him. Oishi was violating his professional duties. However, he had to do what was right. Oishi thought back to when the old man taught him that. Someone who, despite the hot weather, was wearing a suit, came into the automatic sliding door. He had 2 of his colleagues with him. He was showing off his authority like he always did. "Good morning, Otaka-kun." Well, good morning, Oishi. By the way, please don't address me with such familiarity. I'm no longer in a position where you could talk to me that way. Oh, don't be like that, Otaka-kun. We used to play mahjong together, didn't we? Otaka seemed disgusted to hear that. He used to boast about being a good mahjong player, but Oishi once beat him badly in front of many people, which hurt his pride. I would love to chat with you, but I'm in a hurry today, so please excuse me. No. Hey, don't just say that. Don't you remember the time when you forgot to write certificates for the kendo tournament? You begged me to help you. I wrote them for you backstage, and that was why the award ceremony went on so smoothly, didn't it? Shh. I truly appreciate that, but that has nothing to do with this right now. Oh, I didn't know you appreciated it. Sorry about that. I've never heard anything like that before. Down at the prefecture station, they think I begged to write it, and that you turned the offer down and let me write it for you. Wasn't that the excuse you used when the director called you up asking what happened since my handwriting was on the certificates wasn't so great? Well, I don't know. Maybe someone misunderstood? At the very least, I never said such a thing. The prefectural police headquarters may be your territory, but unfortunately, this is the Okonomiya PD. You won't get your own way here. Oh, and what do you mean by that, Oishi-san? I don't know why you're here, but your jurisdiction is Gogura, not Okonomiya. I would like to ask you to leave. What? Under what authority? And what authorization do you have to be here? I'm in the middle of a classified investigation on behalf of headquarters. I've heard that there is an unidentified body related to that investigation here. Well then, please inquire on the phone. Okonomiya isn't a rich neighborhood. This isn't the place where someone in a custom-made suit should be. I see. So you're ganging up with the guys in forensics, huh? There should be an order from the marshal to hand over the autopsy report to the prefectural police headquarters. Then there should have been an explanation to the marshal from the forensic department already. The body's still being examined. Because of a slip-on Von Uphut, there's been a rumor going around that the body was already identified. Anyway, they need a little more time to finish up their report. Then I would like to attend the autopsy. No. What? I'm requesting it as a person in charge of this classified investigation at the prefectural headquarters. If that's the truth, look, I don't want to doubt your policeman's spirit. A policeman's spirit is a noble one, you see? Sure, no one would go into this business if we weren't getting paid for it. But you know, you can't be a good detective without dedication that can be measured by your pay alone. If you say you have that spirit, I'll let you through. The look in Oishi's eye made clear the anger that was roiling with him. As he looked into those eyes, Otaka recalled all kinds of frightening memories. Otaka didn't want Oishi to sense his fear, but he couldn't prevent himself from loudly swallowing. Okay, then please let me through. I'm here because of my policeman spirit. Please step aside. Why don't you make me with your policeman spirit? Come on! What? If your policeman's spirit is as strong as mine, oh, you should be able to brush me aside easily. Come on. Try it. Oishi was obviously saying that he had no intention of letting Otaka through. How could he do this? Otaka was confused. Otaka was an elite policeman at a prefectural police headquarters. I don't know what that even means. He believed academic background and performance record were enough to earn trust. He has been working hard under that belief. But Oishi doesn't acknowledge that. He doesn't even respect him. He's a scumbag. He was the worst type of person. One who tried to establish their meaning and purpose only through rough means, refusing to acknowledge everything about their superiors in order to protect their pride, as uncivilized people often did. Otaka had been thinking ever since they worked together. Why did people trust someone like Oishi? Why did people respect someone like him? Why did people appreciate someone like Oishi more than they did Otaka? Move. If you don't, I can accuse you of interfering with an investigation. Oh? What kind of investigation? If you tell me, I'll help you. Didn't you hear me? It's classified. I can't talk about it to someone like you. I see. Well, if you can't tell me everything, you can tell me one thing instead. What do you have resting on your shoulders? On my shoulders? What are you talking about? I have something on my shoulders. The fate of 2,000 villagers rests there. If I let you through, those 2,000 villagers, no, their relatives as well, will all be very sad. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? I have no idea what you're on about. Alright, I'll tell you. Your boss is planning something terrifying. I bet you haven't thought it through that far. But it's a conspiracy that will make thousands of people unhappy. That conspiracy is about to crumble, and that is why they woke you up and ordered you to investigate. I don't know how much you're getting paid for this. But if that is more important to you than your policeman's spirit... Oh, she stopped talking there. But his eyes continued to speak after that. What in the world are you talking about? Anyway, please just let me through. Otaka's baffled behavior confirmed what Oishi had just said. He had been bought off by someone shady. Though maybe he didn't think that he was bought. He probably thought he was just filling the request to confirm Rika Furude's body as a favor from someone in the information network. He assumed he built himself. Of course, the part about it being classified investigation was a lie. But when an elite policeman from a prefectural headquarters said it was classified investigation, everyone would grovel and salute him. But Oishi didn't salute him at all. This is a waste of my time. I'll file a formal complaint to the marshal later. Well, oh, jeez. Wait a minute. I'm not done yet. As Otaka tried, he's very close. Tried to walk by, Oishi grabbed him by the arm. Otaka tried to make him let go, but Oishi was just too strong. Ow! Let me go! Oh, I'm not putting that much strength to it. If you have a policeman's spirit, this shouldn't stop you. Your unshakable righteousness should knock me down easily. But you can't get even my hand off your arm. Do you know why? Get off me! It's because you don't have a policeman's spirit. Oishi let go of his shoulder and Otaka tumbled onto the floor, sliding for more than 2 meters. What is this? This is interference with an investigation. This is interference with the government official executing his duties. No, this is assault. Arrest him immediately. Otaka ordered his 2 colleagues around, but they didn't know what to do. Oishi was also a policeman, and obviously there was something more going on between them. Besides, they could sense one thing. Their instincts were telling them that Oishi was far stronger than them. They were no match at all. What's going on, Oishi? Some officers were gathering in the lobby. They all looked puzzled. Nothing much. This greenhorn from the prefectural headquarters demanded something selfish, so I just taught him a lesson. The officers alternatively looked between Oishi and Otaka. They knew something was going on, but they didn't know these circumstances, so they didn't know which one to stop. Oishi was respected by the policemen of the Okonomiya station. Everyone respected him. If Oishi said that Otaka was being selfish, then he must be at fault. Oishi was generally seen as sensible. All of them thought that Oishi would only do like this in a public place like a lobby if something was major. Otaka was feeling humiliated to get such attention. He stood up calmly, hiding his humiliation with anger. I see. I understand your position, but I'm not here on a child's errand either. I like your spirit. I'm ready to go if you are. Bring it on, greenhorn. Ah! Not enough. That all you got? Damn it! So that's your policeman's spirit? I have 2,000 Hinamizawa villagers resting on my shoulders. The lives of 2,000 people in my jurisdiction depend on me. Why don't you tackle me with a spirit that's strong enough to knock down 2,000 people? Ah! It was like watching a match between a sumo wrestler and a small child. No matter how many times Otaka tried to tackle Oishi, he simply crumbled against him. Oishi stood firm as if his feet were rooted to the earth. By the 3rd time Otaka tumbled to the floor, he finally realized that he had been provoked. Yeah, he caught his breath and fixed his hair. Okay, I'll tell you. The case I'm investigating has something to do with the Sonozaki family. I was asked by someone to check on something. Why are you beating around the bush? Can't you just say it more directly than that? At any rate, they're questioning the death of that girl said to be the mascot of the religion here in Hinamizawa. I have to confirm if she's dead or alive immediately. I told you we explained that over the phone. It's still under investigation. They need more time. Huh. Well, I didn't want to tell you this. This request, I'll tell you the truth. It was requested by someone you really hate. Representative Sonozaki. Oh, that scary man with the crest on his hakama, huh? Yeah, you're right, I do hate him. If that man threatened me, I'll have to abandon logic and push his demands through too. See? See? Representative Sonozaki requested I check the body immediately. This is a request by a citizen. The police department is there for the citizens. Of course I accepted his request. Rika Furude isn't just any girl in Hinamizawa. She's a very special little girl. If a rumor goes around saying her dead body was found, of course someone has to go confirm it, right? You'd do better not to say things like that in a public place. You're in a lobby, you know? Excuse me. Otaka suddenly realized his mistake. Some people were even whispering behind him. One of them spoke to Otaka hesitantly. Is it true that Rika's dead? Don't worry, ma'am. We haven't confirmed that yet. We're from the prefectural police and that's why we're here. That's right. It's not certain yet. We're still investigating as we speak. I'm only asking to attend the autopsy. You had better think carefully. I'm here on behalf of Representative Sonozaki. If you keep interfering, I'll have to tell him about it. If that happens, you'll be in a tight spot, Oishi-san. Don't you think it's time to surrender? Representative Sonozaki was well known in this area as an extremely tough congressman. The people who knew about him continued to whisper. Otaka grinned when he heard them whispering. He realized that then, in Okonomiya, his threat was more effective than he thought it would be. Oh my! Did you really ask him to do that, Saburo-san? Sir, excuse me. Did Representative Sonozaki really ask you to do that? He certainly did. The representative asked me directly. So what about it? Oishi-san, isn't it time to surrender? People continued to whisper. Representative Sonozaki is a big name around here, Otaka thought. Even gangsters give way if someone mentions his name here in Okonomiya. So, if you're really afraid of the representative, please let me through, Oishi. Please go to counter number 8 to get a traffic ticket you reissued. Huh? When did I get a traffic ticket? Oishi suddenly started to talk about something completely different. In fact, Oishi was looking at something behind Otaka. Huh? Who was he talking to, Otaka wondered. An old-fashioned elderly man and a lady in a kimono were standing behind him. When Otaka's eyes met with hers, she smiled at him. She's definitely my type, Otaka thought. Hey, you! Were you really asked by Representative Sonozaki personally? Not by his secretary or someone else? Yes, of course! Representative Sonozaki and I are very close. He sometimes calls me directly. The elderly man continued to listen with a puzzled expression. Who the heck are you? Huh? There's no need for me to introduce myself. I'm just an ordinary policeman from the Prefectural Police Headquarters. What incredible timing. I mean... I can only laugh. So, I can laugh, right? I wasn't sure. Otaka couldn't understand why Oishi and this lady were laughing. What are you doing here together? Well, you know. Remember that ticket? I didn't see the no left turn sign because of a tree branch. And there was a policeman on a motorcycle waiting right at the exit, and I didn't think it was fair. Saburo-san said I should complain, so that's why he came along today. Ah! Roadside trees are the City Hall's jurisdiction. We get those complaints pretty often, but it's a rather complicated matter. I didn't like the fact the policeman was waiting at the exit. So I'm here to complain about it. Blah, 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 blah. I understand. I'll talk to City Hall and traffic station. So do you think you can settle this peacefully for today? If you say so. We'll leave quietly for today. When Otaka realized they were Oishi's guests, he fixed his tie and spoke up. But you have to pay for the traffic ticket. It's the law. You sure are annoying, aren't you? He is, isn't he? Sometimes he can be pretty funny too, though. I'm in the middle of an important conversation with Oishi. When you're done, please get going. Have a nice day, madam. Grab. You have a nice day too, sir. The two of them grabbed Otaka's shoulders from behind. The lady grabbed his right shoulder and the elderly man grabbed his left. Mr. Prefectural Policeman, I have two things I detest in this world. Do you know what they are? Huh? One is shiitake mushrooms. I love their mom. I just don't like them. Never have, ever since I was born. I don't like to eat them, and I don't like their broth either. The second one is lies. I don't like to use them, and I don't like people using them with me. How can I step back after being ridiculed like this? I am the demon princess of Shisubone Akane Sonozaki. I never back up when someone starts a fight with me. Don't say that about yourself! Also, that would have been perfect if you used a citizen instead of demon princess. Huh? 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 The police officers, the citizens in the lobby, and Otaka's colleagues didn't know what was going on. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me introduce them. This is Akane Sonozaki-san. She's the vice president of the Shishibona City Women's Kendo Club. And this is Saburo Sanozaki. He's an honorary director of the Prefectural Kendo League. Oh, I should mention his formal title. This is Shishibone's 2nd District Representative Sonozaki-sensei. Huh? Well, you're here to give Otaka-kun a lesson, right? He's the instructor for the Prefectural Police Kendo Club after all. Thank you for coming. Here, please show them to the dojo. Huh? Representative? The same. Didn't you say we were close? I think we'll have lots of fun together today. Oh, I'm so excited. The two of them were still clinging to his shoulders and laughing meaningfully. Otaka laughed along with them. That's funny. Are you sure? Did you really confirm the quick carrier was at home yesterday? What do you mean by confirm? I just went by because I heard she caught a cold. So how could they have found her corpse? That's impossible. That's right. It's impossible. But unless it's confirmed, some people might misunderstand. Who would misunderstand what? I mean, the whole village would go into a panic if they found out Rika's dead. Now I'm certain she's lying. I don't even need to wait to hear from Tomotage. Takano's objective is the execution of the emergency manual. Its premise is about to be destroyed, and that's why she's panicking. She finally found someone who showed an interest in her research, which made her feel better about herself. Yet that someone is about to cut her off, and that's why she's panicking. She's as pitiful as she can be. If it were possible. No! Fuck her! If there was a way to reach out to her, I would reach out to save her from drowning. But my hand will never reach, thank you. It won't reach her unless she reaches out. If she has a happy ending, this is worse than Game of Thrones. She's drowning. But as long as she refuses to seek help, I'll never reach her. Unless she realizes it herself, no matter how much I reach out, she'll refuse my helping hand. However, my selfish imagination will have to stop there for now. Is Rika home or not? If she goes into detail, she becomes suspicious of me, since I told her I saw Rika at home. That will put me in a very dangerous position. A man who has been on the phone for some time put down the receiver. Major, there's no answer. There's nobody home. What is the observation unit saying? Since the 17th, the day they started their observation, there hasn't even been one phone call. Hey, Director Irie? That means Rika-chan is still at home, right? Yes? I guess so, I'm not sure. She hasn't gotten so much better. She has gotten so much better. Maybe she snuck out or something. Today is the day of the festival, remember? I think there are some vendors set up near Rika's house. There are a lot of people around, so maybe your observers missed her? Well, can that be possible? Every time Director Irie leaves, we place a seal on the house afterwards. I don't think she could have gotten out through the window. So the mountain dogs are certain that R has not left the house, right? Yes, we're certain. R is inside of the R residence. And she hasn't left the house since the 17th. We're sure about that. The only person who checked inside was Dr. Irie, and nobody from the Mountain Dogs did. But you're sure about that, right? Well, Irie, get out. One of the Mountain Dogs looked at me. I swallowed and then nodded to him. Then how do you explain R's corpse at the police station? Like I said, it's possible they made some kind of mistake. The autopsy isn't done yet, and the body hasn't been confirmed to be Rika. It could just be a rumor. You already said that! How many hours do you think have passed since that rumor has gotten to Tokyo? Unless we do something about this, Tokyo will... Takano realized I was standing next to her and shut her mouth. I could already tell what she wanted to say, though. Major, there's a phone call for you from Nomura-san in Tokyo. Damn it! I told her to give me a little more time! Takano usually has a lot of self-control, but she's not doing well right now. Even her body language makes it clear how irritated she is. Does she have a habit of scratching herself? As she folded her arms, I could see marks where her nails touched her skin. She's clearly not doing well. Takano is rather occupied right now. I'll take it. Nomura-san, right? I've never talked to her, have I? Sorry, this phone call is for the Major. The Mountain Dog looked alternatively between Takano and my face. Director Irie, I have to take care of a few things. Could you please excuse yourself? Sure. I understand. You're in charge of the institute. I shouldn't say anything, huh? Somebody take him to the director's office. Hurry! She's basically telling me to get out. I left the security room quietly. I'd want to be out in that situation. Hello, this is Takano. Sorry to make you wait. I'm sorry to call you repeatedly. So did you find out anything else? I'm sorry. I've ordered my men to get to the bottom of this immediately. Some of them are headed to the police station. I'm just waiting to hear from them. I see. So you should be hearing from them soon, right? What time do you think you can call us? I'll call you as soon as I find something out. But it's hard to say what time, though. As soon as possible, of course. Major, have you ever been on an airplane before? Huh? Yes, of course. When an airplane takes off, an enormous amount of power is needed. That's why sometimes there's engine trouble during takeoff. If the plane hasn't sped up yet, all it has to do is slow down and abandon the takeoff. But if it's already sped up, it's more dangerous to stop, so they go ahead and take to the air. A jet plane has 4 engines, so even if one engine breaks down, it can still fly without problems. It's the same with our operation. There is more than one engine, so if we have enough speed, we'll go ahead with our plan. We'll figure out what to do later. But we are still only preparing to take off. Do you understand what I mean? The first step of the operation was Tomotake's assassination. That hasn't even happened yet, so what Nomura was saying was correct. If you already knew the plane you were on had a broken engine before it took off, what would you do? You'd get off, right? It's the same thing for us. Our clients want to get off the plane because they found out there was engine trouble before takeoff. If they were already at the point of no return, then a little mistake wouldn't matter that much. But since they're still before that point, they're overly cautious about even a tiny mistake. We are checking to see if it is, in fact, engine trouble as we speak. I know. You're like a traffic controller at a control tower. I'm like a flight attendant calming the passengers down. I'm doing my best to talk them into staying on board, even though there's a chance the plane will never take off. If it takes too long to fix the problem, this flight may be cancelled completely. Major Takano, that means your grandfather's work will forever be known as a madman's nonsense. Do you understand that? When one girl dies, all the villagers go mad. That's just too silly. Where did you get such an idea? It sounds like some fantasy. What the hell? It's so stupid. Who in the world do Fumi and Mio Takano think they are? It's just too funny. She's right, though. They have no basis for that, which is why I don't even understand why that manual exists in the first place. Takano ground her teeth. She squeezed the receiver so tightly her knuckles went white. Anyway, now do you understand what will happen? Do you get it? Your grandfather's honor depends on this, as does yours. Yes. Thank you for thinking about us. Don't worry. I'm your only ally. I'll help you achieve the ending that makes you happy. I'll be with you until the very end. So please find out if the information coming from the Okonomiya Police Department is true or false. I'll do my best, but it's not easy to deal with unhappy clients. I'm sorry to make you go through that. Please give me a little more time. Yes. Yes, goodbye. Whoops. Hasn't Okanoki called yet? Call him! Major, we just called 10 minutes ago. He's supposed to call as soon as he learns something. Why don't you take a little break? Your coffee is... The Unimember tried to serve a cup of coffee to Takano, but she knocked it aside. The cup fell on the floor, making a black puddle. Everybody in the security room went silent. Damn it! Somebody bring a buff to clean up this mess! I don't care if we called 10 minutes ago. Call him again! Tell him to find proof that Rika isn't dead, and also capture Tomatake. Takano was starting to realize something. By now, she could sense there was something behind Tomatake's disappearance. Tomatake must know something about what's happening at the Okonomiya police station. He might look dumb, but he somehow found out about the plan, and he was trying to mess with Takano. So Tomatake was clearly behind all of it. Takano had been intending to let him enjoy the festival that night, if he behaved. What a bitch. The quickest way for Takano to be certain of what was happening would be to see Rika's face at her house. But she couldn't leave, and she couldn't trust Irie. And because there were too many people around for the festival, the mountain dogs had their hands full. If she would answer the phone, that would do, but she wouldn't answer. That meant the house was empty, and that Rika's death was real. What went wrong? Who deceived Takano? There was only one person. The only person who claimed that he saw her at the house. Irie was the most suspicious person around. Tomatake had left the hotel and was nowhere to be found, so maybe Rika had left her house and was hiding somewhere else. In other words, Irie betrayed her and was in contact with Tomatake. Start observing Director Irie. What? Are you saying that he's lying? Why would he do that, though? Tomatake must have noticed our plan. He left the hotel and told Rika to go somewhere safe. He's deceived us, and we've been observing an empty house. That house can't be empty. There's definitely somebody in there. Do you have proof that it's R? It's not her. That person is there simply to deceive the mountain dogs, only to make it look like Rika's home. That's it. Tell Okanoki to break into the R residence. I don't know who's in there, but whoever it is, they're connected to Tomatake and Rika. Put the heat on them. But we can't break into R's residence, not today. There are just too many festival goers around there. We can't break in until the festival's over, which is around midnight. That's why all of you are here, right? Just do something. Why? Why can't you do what I tell you to do? Can't you follow my orders? Why? Can you only follow my patron's orders? The unit members could only watch in silence. They knew that nothing could comfort her. The noise of the phone suddenly broke the silence. Takano practically jumped. Yes! What? Major, good news! Crow successfully got the number in the research division in Tokyo is calling for their scheduled reports. The phone number is in Shishibone City. The mountain dogs are trying to pinpoint the address. It's Tomotoki, it has to be. Skylark, gather your most capable men. He's been cautious, so don't make any mistakes. Aaron, give the backup. Understood. Skylark 1 to all units. As soon as we get the address, move in. Everyone, get on board. Shit. Hasn't our man from the phone company called yet?
Oh, I can do it. Give me 5 minutes.
It was 8:45 a.m. They didn't know where in Shishibone he was staying, but depending on where it was, it might be too far to get there before 9. They would have to depend on luck. Damn it! Do it in 50 seconds, not 5. What the hell is taking so long? He's just punching the numbers into the computer. We got it. The address is Hirosake Block Ichi Batsu Hotel Madurado. It's routing through a switch, so his room number is unknown. Did you hear that, Skylark? We got it, we're heading out. Luckily, Hirosake Block 1 was close enough. What? I don't understand how they figured that out. Okanogi had been right. Tomotage was hiding nearby. The garage door of the Okanogi gardeners opened one after another, and the white van sped off in a hurry. That piece of shit. It's our turn now. He didn't even think there could be someone working against him in the research division. Now it's our time for a surprise attack. Tomotage. Hotel Madurado. Despite its name, it had a cheap stain sign out front. A dilapidated business hotel on the outskirts of town, the perfect place for someone to lay low in. They might draw in some guests if they renovated the building into a more modern love hotel, but it was clear they didn't have the capital for renovations and could go under any minute. That's the kind of hotel it was. Tomotage was staying in one of the rooms on the second floor. The interior of the room was worse than his previous hotel. It only had a bed and a phone. But that phone was what he needed the most at that moment. If he didn't have to receive regular reports, he would keep changing hotels, which was safer. But he needed up-to-date information from the research division, and his course of action would change according to that information. Moving about unnecessarily might cause miscommunication in case of emergency. Tomotage never suspected there was a spy in the research division. The ticking sound of the clock echoed throughout the room. It was almost 9 a.m., but the phone might not ring at 9 on the dot. Tomotage waited in front of the phone patiently. He tried to organize the information in his head so he could answer questions more calmly. At the same time, he kept in mind a possibility of an attack. At that time, he heard a woman scream in the distance. It happened again. He heard another scream. Tomotage got the sense something was happening inside the hotel. His intuition told him that someone was checking every single room with a master key. Tomotage opened the curtain a little. He saw several mountain dogs who were blocking all the ways out of the hotel. How long had they been there? Finally! They had finally found where he was. Tomotage could hear their loud footsteps. He heard voices too. This one's empty, next. This cheap hotel wouldn't have chains on the door. They had no means to fend off the master key. Tomotage could tell there were around 20 of them. Fuck. No, maybe there were more. It would be no use trying to fight with them. All he could do was hide. Under the bed? Or in the bathroom? At the very least, the ceiling wouldn't open up like in the movies. Should he jump out the window? It was the second floor, after all. It was perfectly possible to survive a jump. They would be expecting that, however. Yet this was right on city grounds. If he was confident in his legs, it wouldn't be impossible to outrun them. Tomotage soon heard footsteps at his door. This was it. He jumped from the window. Of course, there were mountain dogs on the ground waiting for him. They pointed, and about 6 of them started running after him. Tomotage shot off right from the position he landed in. This took the mountain dogs by surprise. He had started to dash right after he jumped out the second floor window. Tomotage was prepared to do something like that. He had been training in case of an emergency just like this one. Skylark turned to Skylark 1. We've located the target. He's running.
We need assistance. Alright, Wonder Heron. The target is heading west using the back alleys. Stop him. Roger that. Heron 2, 3, and 4. Head over on there. Here he comes. That's him.
3 members of the Mountain Dogs jumped out from behind a streetlight and stood in Tomotake's way. They prepared to stop him, but Tomotage kept running at full speed. They quickly realized he wasn't running towards them to knock them down. He was trying to run past them. There was no point in them taking a fighting position. They lowered themselves and tried to tackle him simultaneously.
No! Whoa!
Tomotage jumped over them. He jumped over them like an Olympic athlete jumping over a hurdle. But he wasn't an Olympic athlete, and they weren't hurdles. Tomotake's heel struck one of the dogs. This is so funny reading this, and it's just a black screen, and you're just, yeah. The 2 flanking Tomotage thought they'd seized hold of him. However, as he flew over them easily, he grabbed onto the 2 of their heads and smashed them against each other. Since when did Tomotage become a superhero? Or not a superhero, a martial artist. Tomotage knew this wouldn't stop them, but at least he'd gain a little time to run.
The target broke through the west intercept team. He's still running. Get it! What are you doing? They're on 10. Go around in the car. Take the second left and we'll get him at 9 o'clock.
Are you okay? Shit! Don't let him get away.
What strength? My nose is bleeding.
Tomotage saw a van with its door wide open ahead of him. It couldn't stop in time, and it hit the wall. As soon as it stopped, several Mountain Dogs jumped out of the van.
Stop him! You'll get a what? Stop him! Come on, there are 5 of us!
Tomotage saw 5 men ahead of him, but he didn't think even those 5 could stop him. Why do trains sound their horns at people on rails? Huh? It's not because the train will get damaged, it's because the people will get hurt.
Get away!
He yelled at them like the horn on the train. See? He doesn't even have a stomach. He's ripped. I forgot who said that comment. Oh, Takano. Yeah. He's ripped, girl. He doesn't have a stomach. He yelled at them like the horn on a train. He wasn't warning them because they were in his way. He was wanting them to move so they didn't get hurt.
Look how many we are! We outnumber him 5 to 1. Don't tell me we can't stop him. No way! There's no way he can get past us. Let's go!
Tomotage didn't grin. After all, trains don't grin. What the fuck? This is ridiculous. How does some... the kids are gonna start having, like, martial arts skills that they've never had before. I mean, Tomotage does work for the... Okay, so maybe... Oh, fuck.
We've captured Tomotage.
Really? It didn't take that long. I want to ask him some questions. Don't kill him, okay? Bring him over here. We'll kill him afterwards. But I've already got a great way for him to go. Crap. Shit. The phone continued to ring inside of Tomotake's empty hotel room. Within 30 minutes, Tomotage was dragged through the back door of the Irie Institute, wearing a gag and handcuffs. Tomotage didn't even move, as though he was sedated. The Mountain Dog members had carried him out of the van. Irie saw Tomotage from his window and came out of his office in a hurry. Takano was already there. What's going on here, Takano? The Mountain Dog silently glared at Irie. Dude, call Aksa. Call him. He realized that he shouldn't have left his room. I didn't see Jiro-san for a while, so I became worried and had the Mountain Dogs look for him. It was a good thing I did because look, he's gone terminal. He's developed terminal symptoms? Are you sure? Of course, Tomotage didn't reply. Irie decided not to say any more. I see. That's unfortunate. Let's give him some medication as soon as we can. Of course. hope it's not too late. Irie already knew. The mountain dogs had tracked him down. Irie wasn't sure if Tomatake was able to arrange something with Tokyo. He wasn't even sure if the bloodhounds had been called in. He could guess that Tomatake didn't have time. If the bloodhounds were called in, the mountain dogs would catch that information. And if that was the case, they would likely drop everything and run. But Tomatake was captured, and they brought him back to the Institute. That meant it hadn't gotten that far, and they were still trying to fix the damage. In other words, Tomatake wasn't able to do what they hoped for. What were they going to do to Tomatake? Since they brought him back alive, were they planning to torture a confession out of him? That would be very dangerous for him. He'd likely end up dead. Irie realized he had to do something in Tomatake's place. The main reason why Irie had to rescue Tomatake was because he had no way of contacting Tokyo on his own. Takano wanted Irie to be useless, so she never told him how to get in touch with Tokyo. Irie could receive phone calls from Tokyo, but he could only call them through Takano. Therefore, Tomatake was the key. Unless Irie rescued him, they couldn't possibly win. But Irie wasn't like the mountain dogs. He was simply a researcher. There was no way Irie could rescue Tomatake from such a high-security area. There were 8 mountain dogs in the building. There were usually only 2, but Takano had called in more. Of course, the basement was a highly secured area, and one needed access card to get in. That card was only given to people in Irie's position. In addition to the access card, one would need fingerprint match as well. The access card alone wouldn't do it. Kitties! Therefore, the only person who could rescue Tomatake from the high-security basement was Irie. And so, even if it was impossible, he had to do it. Irie bunched up his hands into a fist and held them tight to encourage himself. But he only noticed that his fists were shaking.
Irie, did you forget?
Exactly. Irie remembered what Aksa had told him. But it's very hard to anticipate your own danger. You can't underestimate it. You may not even get a chance to make the phone call. If you sense something odd, that's an emergency. Knowing the seriousness of the conspiracy, they won't hesitate to kill us. Please be careful. Irie felt the cold sweat pooling on his back. Was this the emergency Aksa was talking about? He shouldn't think that it was still okay. He might lose the chance to run. He realized that trying to do something by himself was foolish. He had a security access card, true, but that didn't mean he had to rescue Tomatake by himself. Just like how everyone else was trying to combine their efforts, he should also ask for help. Also, Tomatake was in their hands, which meant that the mountain dogs had realized they were under attack and were preparing to counter. It was very possible that they were suspicious of Irie too. Once they broke into Rika's house, Irie's lies would be exposed. Indeed, this was the emergency Aksa was talking about. Irie had realized that. He was already in danger. He needed to leave immediately. The Sonozaki residence was the gathering spot in case of an emergency. His allies were congregating at the Sonozaki residence. He should explain the situation to them and think about how to rescue Tomatake. Takano probably wouldn't kill him immediately. She was intending to kill him that night, as the 5th year's curse. So there was still a little time left. He had allies, and with his secret access card, there was still a chance to rescue him. Irie had to let Aksa know that he was escaping. If they become suspicious of Irie, they would check the house, and Aksa would be in danger too. In other words, it could cause a chain reaction. Irie didn't miss his last chance to escape, but he still had to do his final job. Irie picked up the phone at his desk, called Rika's home number, and left. It would continue to ring like that, sounding the emergency signal. Irie thought back to when he wondered how long he was going to stay in this director's room. He never knew this day would come so suddenly. He noticed the framed picture of his parents on his desk. Irie had become a doctor so he could clear up misunderstanding between his parents and regain his family ties. But how did he get involved in something like this? No, he would return. He would return and fight against Hinamizawa syndrome. He vowed to himself that he would never abandon that responsibility. I'll be back, Mom and Dad, Irie said with his final goodbye and left the director's office. Major, there's a call from the director's office to an outside number. The phone number is the R residence. Huh? What does that mean? Can you listen in? Of course. I'll put it over the speaker. One of the members flipped a switch. There was a sound of a ringtone. Why is Director Irie calling that house now? Maybe R really is at home and he's trying to let her know that Tomatake has been captured. That might be it. He has no idea we're listening in. What was Irie going to talk about? Takano waited patiently to eavesdrop on the conversation. And there was nothing but a ringtone. It'd been over 30 seconds. And there was no answer. Nobody was home. The director sure is patient. I guess he's sure that she's home. Major! We have the director on security camera at the back door! The black and white quad display monitor showed Irie running out the back door. What's going on? Who's calling from the director's room? Takano became utterly confused, but the ringtone continued. Oh, seeing Takano getting bitch slapped feels good. Oh, keep doing it, game. Keep bitch slapping her. Keep doing it. Keep bitch slapping her. I've been waiting for this for a long time. It couldn't be. Takano finally realized what was going on. It's a trap! He knew we were listening in, so he made a fake call! Irie is a traitor! Catch him! Security room on the first floor! Stop Director Irie! The target is heading to the staff parking lot from the back door! The two mountain dogs who were playing cards in the security room on the first floor jumped into action. Rap! The security room was located next to the back door, so Irie was still within reach. No! Everybody's dying, one after another. Irie had made a serious mistake. He could have left the clinic during the 30 seconds Takano and Romen were listening to the ringtone. Oh no. But when he got to the parking lot, he realized he forgot his car key on the desk in the office, so he had to go back and get it. It was only at this point he realized he shouldn't have gone back. He should have escaped on foot. No. But Irie wasn't used to emergencies unlike Aksa. It was a typical mistake any normal person who would have never gone through anything dangerous would make. Although he made mistakes, he didn't forget to call Aksa. People usually become extremely clumsy when they're in a rush. All he has to do is turn the key, but he couldn't even do that smoothly. He kept turning the key, and finally the engine started. Irie still thought that he was alright. Even if one of them questioned him, all he would have to do is say that he was going out to get something. When he released the handbrake with his sweaty left hand, he saw two of the mountain dogs dashing out the back door. As the two of them looked around, Irie's eyes met with one of them in the rearview mirror. He pointed at Irie's car and two of them started running towards it. The two of them looked extremely serious and certainly not like they were chasing after him to return and drop pen. Irie's body was soaked with sweat. Before the two of them could jump in the car, Irie stomped on the gas pedal and the car took off spinning after spinning its wheels. Of course, the dogs didn't give up. They got into their own car and started to chase after Irie. Now you're in the tiny village. Security to base. The director is on run in his car. Do you want us to force him to stop? Major! This is Takano. He's probably headed to the Furure Shrine. There are too many people there, so it'll be impossible to catch him. Fine, don't worry about injuries. Don't let him go. Stop him by any means necessary. That's actually a good idea for him to go to the shrine. Roger, we'll force him to stop. Send backup just in case, over. Roger that. We'll send Nightingale as backup, but don't wait for them. Stop him right now. The mountain dogs had Irie's car in view as it ran away at full speed. They have to find the perfect spot and timing to stop him. It's not easy to drive a car when you're in a rush. Of course, the more you step on the gas pedal, the more speed you gain. Duh. But when you're in a hurry, you can't control the steering wheel well enough to escape quickly. Irie could see his pursuers in his rearview mirror and was completely distracted by that. He was driving carelessly. His driving was so reckless that he could easily get into an accident on his own. As the fear was driving him into confusion, he made a wrong turn, and that mistake made him even more confused and panicked. Come on, Director. You're going to lose your license for driving like that. Although the two guys were ordered to stop them, they were starting to think Irie is going to get into an accident without them doing anything. They'd rather not drag this into a car chase if they didn't have to. This is Phoenix 1. Security vehicle, I'm coming.
The commander! Security vehicle here. We're still chasing him. We're on the path to the forest near the 5th district. Not sure of the exact location. We're heading your way as backup, as per HQ's quarters. Estimated time of arrival 15 minutes. Don't wait for us. I don't think we'll be there in time.
Okanoki grumbled. He had to leave Okonomiya in a hurry to respond to Major Princess. But because of the distance, there was no way he could get there in time. Even so, he was still ordered to provide backup. He could have explained, but the princess wouldn't have listened to him anyway. The mountain dogs who were with Okanogi smiled bitterly.
In which direction you're headed? In the worst case scenario, we'll end up leaving town. Don't let him. We'll comb the hills for him, so break his legs. Is there anybody else? Any weapons? It's in the middle of the forest. There's nobody around. We have one submachine gun in the security vehicle. The guy in the passenger seat reclined it and climbed into the back.
Shit. He lifted one of the seats and took out a black machine gun. The paint on one corner was coming off and the shiny silver metal was exposed. It was a machine gun, but it didn't look as powerful as an ordinary one. However, once the dogs extended a shoulder stock and set it into place, the weapon looked far more vicious.
It's an MP5, correct?
Is it a 5 or... Why do I care? I don't know anything about guns. Even if I did, I don't think I'd care.
You're allowed to fire. Shred his tires with a full burst. Roger that. We're attacking.
Aren't they in the freaking middle of the village? What the fuck? Whatever. The guy in the back seat opened up the driver's slide back window and leaned out of the car. His sharp eyes aimed at one of the tires on Irie's vehicle. It was a straight road. Irie's car was weaving, but not enough to avoid a shot. The pursuers had his car in their sights. They were trying to get as close to Irie's car as possible, but they were afraid they might get caught up if it overturned. They soon decided that this was as close as they were going to get.
I'm going to fire on the count of 3. 3, 2, 1. Fire!
The sound the machine gun made was a lot quieter than what people would imagine, but its power was unimaginable. One of the tires on Irie's car was cut to shreds and collapsed in a puff of white smoke. Because one tire collapsed all of a sudden, Irie lost control of his car. He tried to steer away, but that made things even worse. Shit. As it spun, Irie's car drove off the shoulder of the road and slid down the slope into the forest.
Ah!
The sound of the trees breaking and the car being battered from every direction disappeared down the slope. The pursuers stopped their car and looked down after it, but the plants were going so high it was impossible to check from there.
The attack was a success. The target vehicle went down the slope. It's possible the driver is dead. We'll search on foot.
Phoenix 1, roger. Nightingales in the area. If you're lucky, you'll run into them. We aren't even close. I'm counting on you. Good luck. Roger, roger. Ending transmission. Let's go.
The mountain dogs left their car and headed into the woods without hesitation. Aksa had received the phone signal from Ide. The phone rang for over 3 minutes. The signal told Aksa that Ide was in some kind of emergency and that Aksa himself was in danger now. Takano made a mistake. She didn't realize the ringtone itself was the signal. She assumed someone staying at the house would pick up the phone eventually. Her error allowed Aksa to perceive that extremely important forewarning. Aksa waited for exactly 3 minutes, then ran downstairs quickly. He had already put on his shoes while listening to the phone ringing. Aksa had memorized the layout of the town from the map he kept near the phone. He knew the shortest route to the Sonozaki residence, as well as a number of alternative routes just in case the shortest was already blocked. People would be surprised to see a stranger coming out of the house, but Aksa didn't care about that at the moment. He had to get to the Sonozaki residence immediately. However, the observers would see him, and that was a problem. They'd soon come after him. Upon finding the house empty, they'd assume the man who ran from it knew something. Once Aksa left Rika's house, he had to be prepared to fight. He relaxed his shoulders and reached for the doorknob.